Well, this weekend's heat reached dangerous levels at times. According to MedStar, they responded to at least 22 heat-related calls, with 16 of those people hospitalized and one person in critical condition. Fox 4's David Satendri joins us live. And David, a lot of people want to get outside, get fresh air during the pandemic, but with this heat, health officials want people to be careful.
Yeah, Blake, you're right on. MedStar says it is seeing an increase in heat-related calls. Still, we have seen a lot of people here at White Rock Lake trying to get outside, do activities that are outside instead of inside as much as possible because of the pandemic.
It's been a triple-digit weekend. There are all sorts of ways for people to cool off, and the same goes for dogs.
The heat she does not do well with, clearly.
Danielle Harrington is allowing her dog, Luna, to swim with other dogs at White Rock Lake.
As long as she's in the water and I know her paws are cooled off, I feel better about her going out in the heat.
The heat has been steady.
And I ran 9 miles this morning.
Yeah, that's true.
So.
Lillian Fetty and her husband, Jim, tend to get their exercise in early.
We're up at 5:30ish, like have a cup of coffee and get ready to go.
Still, they're going for round 2 Sunday afternoon, a 9-mile bike ride, just like others, circling White Rock.
Get some fluids, get in the shade, get in a cool circulated area.
MedStar in Fort Worth says it's seeing an increase in heat-related calls. 22 on Saturday, 16 of those victims heading to the hospital, and one of them is in critical condition. Families out on the lake are doing their best to stay hydrated.
Do you want some water?
The Lunell family says they'll only be out here for an hour.
Yeah, I just wish I had some shade.
Oh, got a friend.
We do have a friend.
People have been looking for ways to escape the house during the current pandemic.
We're making it work, but obviously it has its rough points as well.
High temperatures make it even more difficult to be outside, but for some, it's manageable.
Either way, it feels good to get outside because you know, like, I'm not within 6 feet of anybody here.
MedStar wants to point out some of the differences between heat stroke and heat exhaustion. Heat exhaustion, you're going to have excessive sweating, maybe some nausea or vomiting, but with heat stroke, your body, they say, does not sweat, and your body temperature can climb all the way up to 105 or 106 degrees. Blake, back to you.
All right, people, if they are outside, just don't push it. Thanks, David.
Temperatures hit triple digits. We usually head to splash pads, swimming pools, and water parks, but the pandemic has sort of upended a lot of those plans. Not to say you don't have options. Here's David Goins with a look at where you can go.
Ah, yes, August has blessed us again with the triple digits. And while fountains near Clyde Warren Park provide a little relief, Friday marked the return of another way to steer clear of that sweat.
So hot outside, we can't really do much.
So Paula Menace and her 2 kids went inside on the first day back open for the Dallas Museum of Art.
Even though we're wearing masks, it's like a return to normalcy.
The DMA and the Dallas Holocaust and Human Rights Museum reopened Friday. Others, like the Perot Museum, plan to announce a reopening date soon. In Fort Worth, the Museum of Science and History is also welcoming guests back this weekend for the first time since the pandemic forced them to close in March. It is now a touchless, socially distanced, and yes, cool environment.
When it's so hot that that's all, you don't want to be outside. We have a great inside space for just that kind of experience.
Fort Worth-based MedStar adds staying cool will remain especially critical this weekend as temperatures continue well above normal.
Just in the last 3 days, we've had over 40 patients that we've treated for heat-related illness.
To get a better idea if your indoor activity is a good idea, this color-coded list may help. Each activity is assigned a COVID-19 risk level on a 1 to 9 scale. Lower the number, the better. The Texas Medical Association puts a trip to a library or a museum at a 4.
You can only do so many puzzles, right?
Minna says her family is just happy to be out of the house, staying cool, COVID aware, and supporting the arts again.
It's good just to kind of be socially distant, but around other people and kind of feel like part of the community again.
In Dallas, I'm David Goins.
Onto that, Jeff. Thank you. If COVID-19 wasn't already reason enough to stay inside, the temperatures also, as Jeff mentioned, a factor this week. Just today, MedStar reported 13 heat-related injuries and 9 were transported.
At 10 o'clock, a lot of you may have avoided the outside today. Temperatures climbed back into the triple digits and it felt much hotter. Some of you brave ones, though, did venture out to White Rock Lake. Good for you. MedStar tells us paramedics responded to 12 calls today where people simply overheated. 9 were taken to the hospital. They had a similar number of calls yesterday.
Hot weather may be something we've come to expect here in North Texas, but it's important to remember to stay cool and hydrated when the temperatures are this high because it can be dangerous.
Just in the last 3 days, however, we've had over 40 patients treated for heat-related illness. 31 of those have gone to area hospitals. They were that serious. 2 of those patients were critical.
MedStar says you should drink water before you go outside and continue to hydrate when you're outside in this.
Time right now is 9:32. You know, the heat, it is nothing to play around with. MedStar reports EMTs. They took 11 people to area hospitals yesterday. 4 of them were in serious condition. So if you can, please stay indoors and stay hydrated and nice and cool. New this morning, Dallas
buildings and cars. Well, as North Texas enters a long stretch of summer weather, MedStar is once again stressing the importance of taking care of yourself in the heat. Since July, MedStar crews have treated 165 patients for heat-related illness. More than 100 of those cases were serious enough to require hospitalization, and 14 were critical. Children and the elderly are especially susceptible. MedStar recommends drinking plenty of water and limiting outdoor activities.